marriage fail, it's not because of love. Almost everybody that we counsel, we always go back to the beginning. We want to know how you got here. So we ask questions, and we always like to break the ice in order to get them to be comfortable and open up. And so we'd ask question, how did you guys meet? How did you guys decided to date? What make you decide that this one is the right one for you? Who decided to propose? Who asked the question? Who started date each other first? And the wall just come crumbling down, and then all of a sudden they start to give us a play-by-play timeline on how they met, how they fell in love, and where they went on their first date. And we ask those questions because we want to take them back to the beginning when they used to show interest in each other. They used to listen to each other. They used to find each other company favorable. And then we follow up with the question, so how did you get here? What brought you to couples counseling? What brought you to marriage coaching? What made you decide to seek help? And then it comes right back to the source. It comes back to self. It comes back to culture. It comes back to attitude. It comes back to personality. It comes back to their social economic background. It comes back to all these different things. And it hinged in the reality that they don't know how to communicate, to get their point across. They don't know how to really learn to see their spouse better than they see themselves, or they don't learn how to see themselves better than they are. And so these conflicts and these dialogue and these emotional scars or conflicts and problems that they are dealing with, it oftentimes dilute or it just blur the true meaning of what oneness is about. And that's why they have those gaps, right? Number five, healthy communication facilitates growth. I talked about this, that it's impossible for you to be a healthy communicator and you're not growing. See, I knew this a long time ago, that I had to learn how to communicate with my wife. I grew up with five sisters. I'm the older brother among five sisters. So talking is easy for me. I can talk and talk and talk. But then there's a difference between talking or just gabbing and communicating, listening, leaning in, showing interest in the conversation. And so I learned that if my wife have a conversation with me today and tomorrow she wants to talk about the same thing and she probably don't even remember that she's having that conversation with me today that we had yesterday, I don't cut her off. There was a time when I used to say, "Oh, babe, you talked to me about that yesterday." Because I realize, especially for men, if you're a husband or you are a man, you're dating, I want you to listen to me. If you really want to unlock your wife deeper level of intimacy and maximize her potential to be vulnerable and tap into her feminine quality, you have to create a space that she can be vulnerable and open to communicate with you. You see, when God created Adam, and when God said it's not good for the man to be alone, and Miss Ameka, she said it very well that Adam was not lonely. He had never experienced loneliness in his life. He was too busy fulfilling purpose, destiny when he said that. And here's the crazy thing about it. When God said it's not good for the man to be, thank you, I saw that. When God said it's not good for the man to be alone, here's what happens. God put the man to sleep. He took the rib from the man. He created the woman, and then he displayed her to Adam. At that moment when Adam looked at her, it's amazing that Adam didn't try to, he's fascinated with her beauty and everything that she was all about. But what was amazing is that he spoke into her life. He spoke into her life. He said that you're bone of my bone, you're flesh of my flesh. I will call you a woman because you came out of me. That's power. Because that moment, Adam tapped into a place inside of her that allows her to know that he's willing to listen, is willing to learn more about her, and he wants her to feel comfortable knowing that he will communicate to her. And so, for the sake of time, I want to go into some of the things that you can do to improve communication. The first thing that you have to do, you have to improve yourself. You are the common denominator. When you grow, everything around you grows, including your marriage. I often tell spouse that couples that you're not fixing your marriage. You are in an institution, a covenant marriage created by God. You're always working on yourself while you are in marriage. And so it's important to understand that. You're working on yourself. You have to become a better version of you. When you grow, your marriage grow. The relationship that you have with your spouse, it is a reflection of the relationship that you have with yourself. And how you communicate, it is based on how you feel about you and the skills that you have and the skill set, how you learn, how you improve yourself to become a better person. Number two, active listening. You have to learn that listening is not a skill that you're born with. It is a skill that you have to develop. You have to work on building that skills. You have to learn to listen. You have to practice listening. Don't just hear what your spouse is saying. You have to listen to them so that you can get the data to make the informed decision that can help them to change their lives, because the two of you guys are one and both of you need to learn how to do that. Number three, know your spouse communication skills. Do you know your spouse communication skills? Some people are introvert and some are extroverted. It doesn't mean that they don't know how to communicate. They know how to communicate. It's just that some conversations are not, it's not appetizing, it's not magnetic, it's not appealing. It doesn't drive them. But if you get to learn and understand them carefully, you will know what and how to communicate with them. Why did your spouse speak so loud? Maybe when he was growing up, he was always around people that speak loud, so they have a loud voice. You have to know your spouse communication style. Number four, you have to watch your mouth. Verse 21, that life and death are in the power of your tongue. You live at the level in which you speak. And the truth be told, some of you guys have filthy conversation. Your words are very, it's pierced, it's painful. Words are create experience. Your word create feelings. And some of the words that you use, it hurts your spouse. And some of you guys have not even say, I am sorry. You don't ask for forgiveness. You don't ask your spouse. You don't do apology very well. You know, in Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 1, it says that a soft answer turneth away wrath, but a grievous word stir up anger. You know, I've often said this to spouse when we talk about conflicts and deal with communication, that just because your spouse invites you to a conversation, or I mean invite you to an argument, it doesn't mean that you have to accept the invitation. You don't have to fight with them. One person cannot have an argument by themselves. They need a component. They need an opponent. They need someone to literally have that kind of argument. You don't have to settle for it. And finally, I'm just, I'm skipping over some of these points because of time. I want to talk about how communication can literally build you and build your marriage. First, you have to be intentional about the fact that communication helps you. What does it do? It helps you understand who you are. Communication helps you to become more learned. Communication helps you to listen. It helps you to become more mature as a great listener. I have yet to see anyone that are successful in any aspect of life, and communication is not one of the skills that they use. Can you imagine how important this is for our marriage? You had to speak, you had to listen, you had to respond in order for you to end up in a marriage or in a relationship with the person that you're with right now. So my question to you is, why did you stop communicate? Why do you stop listening to them? Why did you lose interest in what they have to say? And now they are closed mouthed. They don't say nothing to you. They only speak to you what they know you want to hear, rather than what really makes them feel connected to you. I think it's time for you to create that connection again. And the only way that you can do that is to first admit to the reality that you don't have it all together when it comes to the area of effective and healthy communication. And you have to be intentional about learning these skills, learning how to navigate, learning how to listen, learning how to forgive, learning how to pay attention to the need of your spouse so that you can get the data to make informed decision that can help to maximize your potential and allow you to seize opportunity to add value to your spouse so that the both of you guys can build a more successful and happy marriage. And with that being said, I'm not going to exhaust the time. I know time is going. I have some more. I think I will send the outline to uh, to Mr. Wisdom so that he can give it to you guys if you guys need it. Again, thank you for having me. I will yield the mic back to you, sir, Mr. Asunda.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Doran. So profound as always. The power of communication in marriage. Can you hear me? I don't know.
Yes, I can.
Still not there. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Communication is one of the important tools, you know, in every relationship, whether marriage or whatever, even in business, wherever, communication is very important. He made mention that there's a difference between talking and communicating. Most times couples what they do is they do talking, but they are not communicated. They are not communicating. So and thank you for opening it up today and differentiating between communication and healthy. Okay, you talked about not even just communication, healthy communication. That ensuring that the other person, your partner, understands the message you want to pass across. So it's very important that communication is one of the tools that have either it can help your marriage move forward, or it can also lack of it can destroy the marriage. So that's why it is very an important tools that an important tool that can build your marriage, can build your relationship, can build your business. So it's not only about your marriage or relationship, but also your business. So because when there is a healthy proper communication, things move swiftly, and things move properly. Thank you so much for that wonderful session, and I really appreciate you
Thank you.
for honoring the invitation. So I have two questions here, so I want to ask immediately so that we can move forward. The first one is, how can technology and social media influence communication in marriages today? And what strategies can singles ensure these tools have a positive impact on their relationship? Maybe I need to repeat it, or you understand what I said. How can
I
technology
understand.
and social media influence communication in marriages today? And what strategies can singles use to ensure these tools have a positive impact on their relationship?
Yes, I think technology has become a way of life. Technology is so advanced that I'm in the US and you guys are in another part of the world, and there's no limitation geographically. That's how powerful communication is. When it comes to marriage, when it comes to relationship, I think it's important for us to know that high tech cannot replace personal touch. We are humans. I don't care about what they say, AI and chatbots and all of these different things. At the end of the day, social media and social network and all these things, the word social means that everybody wants to be a part of something, right? Unfortunately, we see that it has become a big problem in relationship today. I coach a single couple that they're about to get married, and I had to tell them that they have to put off that marriage. They're not ready for marriage yet because they were sitting in front of me and I was asking them a question, and they literally was about to take out their phone to text each other. And I said, whoa, 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 why are you guys texting? Why you guys are having, why do you guys feel like you need to text while you're right across from each other? And I like to pay attention to body language and how people use their non-verbal, right, communication skills. And I said to them, let me ask you a question. Do you guys argue a lot? They said, yes. I asked them one other question and said, how do you guys resolve most of your conversation? The boyfriend at the time says, well, we normally text each other. And I said, that's the problem. I was like, time out. You can't do that. Technology is great. It's good. But at the same time, you have to have boundaries and have parameters and understand that, listen, if there's a real problem in a relationship, doesn't matter how you text it, there's nothing better than personal touch, one-on-one communication. Because at the end of the day, even if you meet online or you met on a dating app, there has to be one-on-one connection that's going to glue and hold you together. And technology cannot replace that. And so you have to set boundaries. You have to spend time together. Turn off your phone. When you're in your bedroom, turn off the TV, turn off the computer so that you can spend time to get to learn and understand the rhythm of love. And technology can teach you that. It's personal touch, one on one connection that is able to really help you to do that. And that's why you have to be disciplined to understand that technology is great, but don't allow it to replace personal and one on one connection. Unmute your mic.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Doran. Such a pleasure having you today, and we really appreciate because the second question actually you have already answered the second question here, so there's no point asking it again. Such a pleasure having you. We are so grateful,
Thank you.
for this beautiful session, and I believe that that is going to be, for all the listeners out there, going to be impactful, and anyone that that needs to build their relationship to sustain it, to be happy and enjoy their relationship, they need to build a healthy communication. I think you say communication is a skill, and you have to, if you don't have it, you have to learn it, and so that you can enjoy your marriage. Thank you so much for that wonderful session, and I want everybody to appreciate Mr. Doran Francis. Such a wonderful man, and so we are so blessed having you today. Such a my regards to your beautiful wife, and that we love your family, we love everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Much of the time, um, if you are still having I believe that everyone is that joined the network issue is no longer the we don't have that network issues anymore. So if you have your questions, because now we don't want to keep everybody for too long, and that's why maybe any other question that we have later on, you can drop it, and we'll be able to get it across, answer the questions, and you will see it on my page or on his page too. So we're going to share the questions, and I believe that you are really enjoying this session. So the next one, which is the last but not the least, is another wonderful woman. Um, you know, she's why I say she's a wonderful woman is that what she's doing, what she's doing out there on both. If you look at Bedroom Matters, is a name, a household name that everybody. If you mention Bedroom Matters, everybody knows that she's the one, and she's doing wonderfully well, and I'm so privileged to having her to come speak to us. Speak to us today. Her name is Ms. Cecilia Ago. She's the founder of Bedroom Matters International. So Mrs. Cecilia Ago is an international speaker, amazing published author, award-winning counselor, certified relationship and marriage counselor, a certified intimacy coach and clinical sexologist. She is one of the most international sought after speakers on marriage, intimacy, and sex. Mrs. Ago speaks to a wide range of audience about God, marriage, and sex. Mrs. Cecilia is an amazing personality who has helped couples enjoy their marriages and intimacy. She has currently helped over 10,000 couples as spies and seasons to the glory of God. Mrs. Cecilia is passionate about building a happy homes using godly principles. She says it she says it as it is and take no nonsense, tough love approach to all marital and premarital issues. She's the inventor of the first couples card game card in Africa, and author of 3 books, 15 fun activities for couples, How to Become a Better Lover, and 270 fleeting messages to send to him. She has been featured as the best lifestyle social, The Women with Stories, which was featured on the Guided Women, TED's House on the Rock Church Abuja, Combat Spiritual Congo, How to Make Love Conference, so many virtual trainings, and so much more. From a rape survivor who hated sex in the early years of her marriage to becoming the bedroom matters boss, serving the world with her message. She is married to Mr. Amana Ago and blessed with 4 adorable children. Can we welcome Mrs. Cecilia Ago, the bedroom matters? Welcome. Can we use love emojis and the fire emojis to welcome her to our virtual relationship summit today? Welcome, God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Coach Wisdom, for inviting me. Thank you for having me. And it's an honor to always, just impact and teach married couples on this very, very important topic. I also want to say that I'm grateful to be speaking amongst these amazing speakers. When I did my video, I said that between all 4 of us, all 5 of us, we have over 60 years of marriage experience, personal experiences. And I think I underestimated that, because from my calculations, now just hearing everybody talk about how long they've been married, I think I needed to add like 20 more years to that. And you're all just amazing people. Reverend Doring is someone that my family holds dear to our hearts. He is a source of inspiration to my husband and I in particular. And Tamaka is Auntie Amaka. I call her Auntie. I don't call her Mrs. Amaka, because she's become family to us, and she's such an amazing woman, very passionate about family life, marriage, and she says it as it is, and unapologetically Jesus lover and pro marriage. And of course, to Mrs. Taiwan, look, I mean, when I saw the flyer, I had to go look you up too. So yes, I looked you up and I see the amazing work that you're doing. God bless. And of course, to the coach, let me quickly just run through what I have, because I see that we're running late or running low on time. So my topic tonight is, let's talk about sex. And it's very interesting, the topic, because when you're talking about marriage, sex must be part of the topic. And I say to anybody who wants to get married, to the singles that come for counseling, I always say to them, if you don't want to have sex, don't get married, because somebody or both of you will get frustrated along the way. So however you want to look at it, sex is an integral part of our relationship and our married lives, and thankfully, and I hope I'm speaking to Christians here, and if you're here, you're not a Christian, please indulge me. I'm a Christian, and sometimes I'm going to go into the Word to also buttress some of the things that I'm going to be speaking on today. So let's talk about sex, really. Who is the originator of sex? We all think that, by virtue of what we see online on social media, in the news, that sex is just something that happened to us or happened on us. But I always like to say to people that sex is God's invention. God created sex, and God gifted sex to married couples. And when I say this, some people actually get offended. I've been in a place and I was teaching and I talked about how God was the one that created sex, and people got really, really offended, And I always like to just direct them back to Genesis 1:27 to 28. And it says, so God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. And for me, that struck me, because he created us male and female. God could have created just male, or he could have created just female, right? But there's a reason why he created us male and female. I'm going to try to rush through these scriptures, and the Bible also says in Genesis 2:25 that Adam and Eve were both naked and were unashamed. And Reverend Doran had talked about this in course of his training as well. We were not ashamed of, or I don't know if we're not ashamed. And I'm going to speak more on this as we go along, because you see couples these days, they don't talk about sex. It's a shameful topic. It's, a taboo topic. But God said, in the Bible, that the first man and woman on earth were naked and they were not ashamed. And, this just really brings me to the point where I always say to people, the fact that we're all bombarded with all of this stuff on social media these days, you see somebody who is selling maybe table water, she's selling it, the water is being sold by a woman who is in a bikini. And I'm wondering, what is the connection between somebody who is naked and a bottle of water? I've seen a dental floss, brand also, do this sort of thing. And so women have been objectified, and we look at sex as something that is very casual. It's something that you can just pick up out there. But sex is beyond that. It's very, very spiritual. God created it for benefit of husband and wife, not single people. And the damage this is doing is also because we're not able to talk about it. Communication is a huge part of what I'm going to be talking about today. Because if you don't talk about sex, if you don't have conversations around this topic, how do you even know how to pleasure each other, right? And so it's very important that first off, that God created sex, and you know for sure that this is a pleasurable. God doesn't give gifts that are not intentional. It's a gift from God to us for us to pleasure each other, for us to, love up on each other. And I'm going to also share on the benefits of this gift, as we move along. Let me quickly move to the powerful or the most powerful sex organ. So some people would think that the most powerful sex organ is maybe the breast, the nipple, or the penis, or whatever. But the truth is, the most powerful sex organ on the human body, especially on the woman's body, is the mind. It's the mind, because you can know all of these erogenous zones, the places and the pleasure zones that turn you on. But if the mind is not right, nothing is going to happen. And for the woman, the best aphrodisiac is her mind. And so what that says to me, or what that should say to you, is, so if this is the aphrodisiac, if her mind is the most pleasurable or the most powerful sex organ, how do we now make sure that that mind is currently in tune? How do we make sure that the mind constantly is in the right space? And so when I speak to people, I say that sex is not just, when it's time, somebody gets naked and hops on the bed and that's it. It takes a lot, of plotting and intentionality and courting and dating and so much more. And communication, and all the speakers have done justice to like a lot of the things that I would like to touch on. And so I'm just going to try and move it along. So when it comes to sex in marriage, everything has to be right. The communication has to be right. The way you love and respect each other, the tools that Mrs. Toyin has also given to us, all of these things have to be in place for you to have a pleasurable sexual experience. And all of this goes a long way to stimulate the mind. There's a topic that Antamaka and I were, exploring some time ago. It was about making love to her mind first. And that makes you care about her feelings, you care about his feelings, because men also have the mind is also a man's most powerful sex organ. So it basically means that we must take care of each other's needs physically, psychologically, emotionally, and otherwise. When you take care of these other parts, sex can now thrive in the marriage, And so if you are the type of woman that is very quick with her tongue, you're very quick to beat down your husband, and then you want to have sex at night. I know we all think that men can just wake up and just have sex, but real men actually don't just wake up and have sex. Their mind have to be in the right places. And the same thing with the woman that you probably have offended all day or all week, and you've never really opened your mouth to apologize, to her, or even sort out what the issue is. And then all of a sudden at night, you want her to, turn over and, just give you the most beautiful sex of your life. That is not just possible. It's not how it works. We must learn to understand that the mind is very powerful. And there's a study that actually said that 75% of American women, there was a survey that was carried out, and that 75% of American women have had little or no pleasure at one point in their lives, or at one point in their lives or another. And I'm asking myself, if this is 75% of American women, these are people or women who are in a world where they're more expressive than where we're from in Nigeria or Africa, where you can actually even explore, you can talk about what your needs are, what you desire, how you want to be pleasured. How much more those of us that are in this side of the world? Does that make sense? And so if that's the problem, what is the reason? Why is it that women have this high number of unsatisfied sexual experiences? And that tells me that it has a lot to do with their minds as against, their physical bodies and all of that. Now, sex is something that can also improve a woman and a man's mental health. I'm going to also talk more on the benefit of this as we move along in this training. So it's important that the mind is taken care of. When the mind is taken care of, when you communicate more, it's easier for you to even have conversations around the subject matter with your children. And I'm going to just pause a bit and just come to the children part, because this is a part that we don't even talk about, the part that a lot of us neglect. The home, your marriage, should be the first place your children learn about sex education. And it should be the place where they see what marriage truly should be. If your children grow up in a space where both of you are always beating down on each other, you're always, cursing out on each other, you're always raising voices, that's going to affect their choices in marriage about sex. And there's this thing going around that sex is and that marriage is overrated. And this is a result of what we've fed our minds. It's a result of people's experiences that are not projecting out there. And people are taking these things in, and we have, for those of us who even have younger children, we need to be able to talk about sex with each other enough to be able to now answer sexual questions from our children. So sex is very important, and it's not just when the both of you are in bed, it's also how you're able to guide your children and how you're able to raise your children and point them in the right direction. Let's not forget that there's a lot of sexual perversion out there, and they're constantly pushing out these things to our children. So it's very important that we're very, very intentional when it comes to the topic, all right? And understand that it's a spiritual topic. It's not it's casual sex that's not even got an original plan for marriage. Now let's quickly get into the anatomy of the female and the male body, and I'm going to of course concentrate on the genital. I'm going to concentrate on the penis and on the sexual area of the woman. I don't like to just say, oh, her vagina or her clitoris, because they are all just intertwined when it comes to sexual pleasure. I always say to people that God created sex for the woman's pleasure more than he created it for the man's pleasure. And when I say that, I say it with a big smile, because people look at me and go, no, that is not even possible. And it's very evident in the physical anatomy of the body. Right. So when it comes to penis, unfortunately, I don't have my physical models that I used to teach, but I'm going to try as much as I can to show. And I wish I was sharing my screen so I'd actually even show you. But the penis was created for sex and other businesses, right? Urination and all of that. But the woman's sexual organ, especially the clitoris, right, was created strictly for pleasure. God created the woman and put the clitoris strictly for pleasure. Now, there's a huge similarity between the clitoris and the penis. And I'm just going to move my gadget a bit to just share or show you what I have in front of me. I hope I'm able to figure this out. Great. Now, what you have here is a picture of the penis, okay? And what you have here is a picture of the clitoris. I'm sure some people are shocked, like, how is this the clitoris? Now, when you look at a woman's physical body from the outside, what you see is this red part. What you see is this red part. This is the only thing that is on the outside that you see. Every other part of the clitoris is embedded behind the skin. It's inside of her. And that's why her clitoris is a whole bundle of pleasure and, just great happiness. Now you see the similarities. This is the hood, the clitoral hood. This is what your eyes can see, and you have the man's version over here, and you can see all the similarities, and this is just the pleasure zone for a woman, right? And all of this goodness was created and put there for pleasure. The woman does not urinate through her clitoris, she urinates through her urethra, and it is there. Unfortunately, we people don't take time to sit down and understand the dynamics. Now, let me also share with you that the man's sexual organ, his penis, has about 4,000 nerve endings, 4,000 nerve endings on his penis. And can anybody guess how many the clitoris has? Can anybody just put it in the chat box? Anybody quickly guess how many nerve endings? And nerve endings are those things that bring about the sensation and the pleasure that we feel, when we're having sex. Does anybody know? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. I've not seen any charts, but let me just quickly go on. Now, the clitoris alone has over 8,000 nerve endings. Fantastic. Fantastic. Over 8,000 nerve endings, double what the man has. And so I always say to women, we shortchange ourselves. You don't experience pleasure because you've refused to explore, you've refused to be open, you've refused to do away with the things that you think when it comes to sexual pleasure in the marriage setting. When your eyes is open enough to understand that God created this and he gifted it to us, and we have the capacity to enjoy. See, women have the capacity to enjoy sex every day, and that's the truth. Does it mean that we're going to have sex every day? No. But do we have the capacity if we wanted to? Absolutely. And will it be pleasurable? Absolutely. Because the problem is some people always think that you have to have, reach orgasm every single time. And that is a myth. It is not possible to have, pleasure, to reach orgasm every single time. But you can have pleasurable sex every single time. There is a difference. And I don't want to dwell, on that, because I'm also trying to be mindful of time. Now, having known or heard or learned all of these things, my question is, what are the benefits of sex to married couples? And I will keep saying married couples because I want to believe that this class is for married couples. And for singles that are here, please ensure that you're learning for your marriage. You're learning for when you have the certificate to actually go and practice and to enjoy pleasurable sex. Number one is that sex is the glue that binds the husband and the wife. God says that he made them man and woman, and that both of them came together and became one. They became one. And the only way physically possible that a husband and wife can become one is when they're having sex. That is when. And so sex is the glue that binds the husband and the wife together. And of course, the Bible also says that you should go and multiply and be fruitful. So one of the benefits is, if you don't have sex, you can't have children. If you don't have sex, you can't have children. And somebody will say, what about adoption? The person you adopted, the baby you adopted, is as a result of two people having sex. All right. So quickly, sex is also a loving and a pleasurable act of sacrificial giving. And I want to take time to explain this a little bit more because a lot of marriages, a lot of women complain about, lack of pleasure. It's almost like anytime the man wants to have sex, he remembers that he has a wife. And when he's done, he's satisfied, he moves on. And so you have a lot of resentful wives who just see sex as an obligation. And so they just lay there and give it to him, and even fake orgasm and fake pleasure just to, pleasure the man. And vice versa, because some women actually do that. And if it's a sacrificial giving, if it's an act of pleasurable sacrificial giving, then it means that we must both be intentional about the pleasure that we give and receive from each other. And so what that means is when you are having sex with your spouse, you want to be observant of them. You want to know when they're feeling it, when they're enjoying it, and when they're not, right? And you want to know what the problem is when they're not enjoying it. Is it that they're too tired? Is it that they are stressed? Or is it just that they don't even know what they're feeling? Is it that they don't even enjoy it? Is that it? What exactly is the problem? And if you're not sacrificial in knowing, if you're not sacrificial in pleasuring your spouse, then you're doing sex wrong. So it's important that even when you're almost there, when the orgasm is almost there, and you realize somebody is not happy, either your husband or your wife, it takes only a true king, a true queen to stop and say, what is the problem? How do I make this better for you? How do I make this pleasurable for you? So it has to be about the both of you, and it's not a one man's show. All right. And then sex also helps us to resist temptation. The Bible talks about sex being something that we owe to each other, and that the only reason, or the only what's the word now? The only acceptable reason why you should deny each other of your bodies is um when you're how the Bible say now is when you decide to take some time to pray. And he also went ahead to say that both of you must not stay alone, stay away for too long, must come back together as quickly as possible, so that the devil out there will not tempt you. So God knows that we can be tempted, and it's not only men that are tempted, women are tempted as well. So sex helps us to stay away from temptation. When you have your own, you have your own. There is no longer any reason for you to look out there or to allow yourself to be tempted. And if you are in a space where you are tempted, is why you have your spouse. You speak to your spouse about it. If you're accountable to each other, you're open and transparent to each other. When the temptation comes, because sometimes it will come even when you're not looking for it, you make sure that you're open about it too, and with your spouse. All right. And of course, sex is an act of love. How are you having sex with somebody you don't love? How are you having sex with somebody who doesn't even enjoy it, and you're happy, like you feel fulfilled having gone in and out of this person? So we must understand that we must come to a place where we love each other and put each other first, for you to actually really enjoy sexual pleasure. And then I'm going to also go to like the other benefits, of sex, which number one is it lowers blood pressure. These are like the medical parts, or the medical benefits of sex to married couples. It lowers your blood pressure, right? It helps give you a better immune system. And these are facts. These are medical facts. You can go and check, right? It also gives you better heart condition, better heart health. Better heart health. So when you're having sex, just know that you're exercising and you're pumping up your heart and you're in good shape, right? And it also improves self-esteem and confidence in both men and women, but mostly in women. Oh, I have 10 minutes, right? Mostly in women. Have you ever seen a woman who is sexually pleasured, very happy, especially when she's had it first thing in the morning and it was pleasurable and she goes to work? You just see there's this glow about her, and she's sexually confident. So you must understand the reasons why, this is very, very important. You must understand the benefits that you are losing or missing out on if you're not having regular sex in your marriage, right? Now, regular sex and also decreases depression and anxiety. It helps you increase libido, because the more you enjoy it, the more you want to have it. And of course, it is an antidote to pain. There are some pain, and when I say this, I laugh all the time. There are some pain that sex helps you to relieve. And I would share personally, when I have a headache and I send a message to my husband, babe, I have a headache. He knows. I just need my normal dose of oxytocin release in my body, and the headache like that is gone. I can't remember the last time I had painkiller, for real. So if you have headache here as a married couple, a married man, a married woman, and you want a relief, you want to do away with all those painkillers, now you have the secret. All right. And of course, finally, it helps you with better sleep. It's the reason why the moment a man comes, he just passes out. His testosterone goes down and he just goes to sleep. Like, it's just a beautiful feeling. And when a woman is properly pleasured, she just has a beautiful sleep. And this also helps to improve the woman's look, her hair, her nails, her skin. These are all traits and can be connected to sex. Now, if we all know about this benefit, what is the problem? Why do we have less and less married couples enjoying sex? The first one is the wrong programming. We're all a product of where we come from, where we were raised, and in Africa here, I don't know about any other parts of the world, when children are born and are raised, there's this unspoken thing about, a woman should take care of herself. You're a girl, you sit properly, you cross your legs, you do this, you don't let a boy touch you, because if a boy touches you, you get pregnant. And then when the same parent is talking to their male children, you hear the man or the woman saying something like, you better be careful. Don't go and impregnate any girl out there and bring her to the house. You're not even saying keep yourself, the same thing you're saying to the woman. So I feel like it's just an unbalanced kind of conversations that we have. And these are the things we need to talk about. Keeping yourself, be pure for yourself. It keeps a lot of heartbreak, heartache, and diseases out of your relationship. So the wrong programming, where we come from, you've been told that sex is bad, sex is dirty, sex is this, sex is that. And then all of a sudden you get married and I say, oh yes, have sex. Make sure you're not denying each other sex. And then I'm asking, how? From where to where? Where is the point where we actually say, okay, those things you've heard from the time you were very young to this point may not be the right information or may not be the complete information. And this is what you're supposed to now do. So wrong programming is one way. The second one is traditional influence, and I don't want to delve deep into it, but with traditional influence comes, oh, the man must be on top. The man has to pleasure himself. The woman is just there to pleasure him. The woman is just there to, give him whatever it is that he needs sexually. And of course, we all know that that's the wrong way. Of course, there's the religious influence. And I say this to a lot of religious people, a lot of, people in influential position in the religious field. What we say on the pulpit is very, very important because you don't know how many people will take it and run. I was watching and it was of a preacher talking about how it is devilish and carnal for a man to spend more than 5 minutes in bed with his wife. In fact, he's a very poor man. He will not make heaven. All manner of stuff. And we hear so many more stuff out there. And it's why what we do is very, very important because it takes a lot of work. If 5 minutes is too long to spend, meanwhile, it takes a woman an average of 25 to 30 minutes for her body to be properly stimulated. Not that that's when she actually gets the orgasm that she needs or wants, right? It's that it takes that long for her body to be prepped enough to receive this. And you're telling him that in 5 minutes he's done. What that simply means is just go there, hump, do whatever you want and get out. She's satisfied, she's not satisfied, it's none of your business. So we must be very, very careful. And of course, the wrong kind of information is a reason why a lot of married couples are not enjoying sex. You don't know what the original zones of your spouse is. You don't even know yours, and these are the things that we need to learn. Infidelity is another reason a lot of couples are not getting married, are not enjoying sex. And infidelity is a traumatic experience. Unfortunately, in this part of the world, when a man cheats, they tell the woman, understand, pray for him, just don't leave. If you leave, another woman will take over. Is that what you want? And this woman is living in pain, in sadness. She's traumatized. Every time the man is making love to her, all she can think of is that she's not enough. She's not beautiful. She's not sexy. What is it about this other woman that is making him, do the things that he does? And of course, that comes with zero apology in most cases or just sorry. So the things that we see a lot of the times are, I've told you sorry. What more do you want? For how long do you want to hold this grudge against me? So when you as a man, even as a woman, have gone through infidelity, you've cheated on your partner, understand that it's going to take a while for them to fully come out of the betrayal that you've just put them through. And you must be understanding about it. You must be transparent moving forward. You must be patient with them for them to get the healing that they require. Otherwise, sex is just going to be mechanical between the both of you. And of course, lack of communication, which every other speaker here have talked about. Both of you must learn to communicate what feels right, what doesn't feel right. But of course, you're not allowed to talk about this type of topic in this part of the world. Having said that, in conclusion, what are the things that we should be doing? What are the solutions? Number one, unlearn and relearn. Whatever hasn't worked for you all these years, are you willing to just say, you know what, babe, we need to get help. We need to, just learn new things because this one isn't working. It's important that both of you are open to unlearning and relearning new stuff. All right. Learn to communicate effectively. What feels right? What doesn't feel right? And when you're in the space or in the moment and something feels right, you need to be open enough to say, oh, yes, that feels nice, babe. Stay there, stay there. As against when something just shifts, you just zone out, you just block everything else out because, oh, something felt right, and then all of a sudden it doesn't feel right. Even in the moment, it's important to say, oh, yes, this feels good. Oh, no, babe, go back to this. Oh, yes, do this, do that. And then even after sex, it's important to communicate, share with each other what made that particular experience beautiful. And it doesn't have to be every time. And then, of course, when you go out for date nights and when you do other stuff, talk about sex. You need to get to the point where it is no longer something that you are ashamed about. All right. And then, of course, put each other's pleasure first. It's called polarity in sex. When you're making love with each other, when you're having sex with each other, I know I'm going to be done pretty soon. Give me a minute and I'm done. I'm rounding up, okay? Put each other's feelings first. When you're pleasuring, when you're in bed, so imagine that the husband only cares about what to do to pleasure his wife, and the wife only cares about how do I pleasure my husband. Both of you will have a beautiful sexual experience every single time because you're looking out for each other's pleasure. So that is very important. Staying faithful is another solution. Stay faithful. Whatever it is that is calling your name outside, decide not to hear it. Decide to turn off that volume. Decide to not listen. Stay faithful to the one that you've promised to stay with till death do you part. All right. And then, of course, this is very vital because Mrs. Taiwo talked about it, dating each other. You get to a point where, there's this complacency with, oh, we know each other, we love each other. You don't put in effort anymore, And so for me, I always say to couples, date each other often. Go on date nights at least once every week or twice every month. Make sure that it is something that both of you speak about, you plan it, you put it down, and you stick to the plan. And when you go out, because people take date night as a reason or as a space, an environment to talk about what is not working in their offices, in their businesses. Date night simply means the only thing that matters in that moment, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours moment, is the both of you. If you don't know where to start from conversations around when you guys met each other, what you found, very funny or loving or caring about this person. Talk about things that will build the both of you up. And when you come back, you just know that it's going to be bliss and bliss throughout in the bedroom. And then, of course, finally, fill up each other's love tank. What is your love language? What makes your husband happy? What makes your wife happy? Is it words of affirmation? Is it receiving gifts? Is it acts of service? You must know these things. And when you know them, make sure you're constantly depositing into their love tank. Because when the love tank is empty, sex will not thrive. And I hope that somebody has been blessed tonight, and I hope that we'll be more intentional with our marriage, and I hope that we'll continue to talk about sex in our marriages. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Cecilia. Thank you. That was a very deep session. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that wonderful session. I believe that all of us, this particular topic that all of us are are learning. We are just hearing, and also to apply in our almost especially we that are younger couple generation, married people. So we are learning, getting better every day. Such a profound session. I just have one question. You know, one question. This is just like it's not most especially when it comes to sex. It should be single people should just learn to apply when they get married. While married people should apply because that's where they are. That's what they should part of the thing necessity. Yes, what they should do in marriage. So one of the questions that I want to ask is, how do someone balance their sex life? I mean, couples, how do they balance it? You marry someone that, okay, one want to be having sex every day, while the other person doesn't want, he does, or he or she doesn't see it as shouldn't be everyday stuff. So how do they balance?
Yeah.
Because this is a problem. It has become a
Yeah.
problem in the home. So how do they
Yeah.
balance this matter?
Okay, so if I get your question correctly, we're talking about high libido and low libido people in the relationship, and it's a
Yes.
brilliant question. To be honest, it's a problem for a lot of people, and in most cases, the man is the one with a high sexual libido, and the woman is the one with the low sexual libido. And the reason that is in most cases is because the woman does not know the capacity, what she can enjoy, how much pleasure she has hidden inside of her. And so the first thing that I will always advise couples to do is to talk, have a conversation, understand why somebody wants it every day and the other person doesn't want it every day. If you don't want it every day or you want it once in a month, why? What is the problem? Is it because I don't pleasure you well enough? Or is it because it's just not there? So having this conversation and understanding what the problem is will go a long way. It will help you to now understand what to do and how to go about it. Now, for people who just would say stuff like, I don't even know. It's not like we even have a problem. It's just, I just don't have the urge. I just don't have the urge. You also need to learn to explore yourself. You need to understand, okay, I'm a person. God created this, and it's a gift. Why am I not understanding, or why am I not fully into this with my spouse? Why don't I enjoy it? What is the problem with me? Because some people get to the point where they're not talking about it anymore. The man is either too tired to talk about it, or the woman is too tired to talk about it. So the other person who is on the lower side must also understand that this is an obligation between the both of you. You must put each other's needs, front and center and back at every point in time. Now, it also means that if the problem is whatever, stress, work related, whatever related, then you want to find solution around that particular problem. If it is trauma, then you need to go for therapy, whatever the issue is. Okay. And then you also need to get to the point where maybe the problem is that somebody has just gone cold for whatever reason. You learn to spice it up. You learn to do new stuff. Variety is a spice of life. Now, for some people, it could be medical. And then I also like to say that for the person who has a higher libido, there also needs to be some patience in the mix. Okay, especially when this person has some really serious issues going on, and the both of you are in the space where you're talking about it, you're getting the help that is required. It may not change overnight, and so patience is really, really needed. But most importantly, ask God for help. And when I say ask God for help, people are shocked, like, how do you ask God for help on your sexual matters? If He created it, who else do you go back to when you have an issue? If you drive a Bentley, when it has an issue, where do you take it? Do you take it to a Toyota store, or do you take it to a Honda store, or do you take it back to Bentley, right? And so whatever the issue is, get there. And of course, get professional help. If you've gotten to the point where both of you can no longer deal with it, you've tried all this while, get professional help. And I'm sure this should, help the person with the question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. For your section, wonderful section, and I'm so grateful today that you honor this invitation. And I just want to use this opportunity to call it a wrap today. And first of all, I want to appreciate each and every one of our guest speaker today, starting from Mrs. Amaka Chika Mbono. Really, I want to appreciate you, ma, for your time, for honoring this special invitation. I'm so honored to have you here. And also, so blessed to have you. And also to Mrs. Tai Aluko, I really want to appreciate you too. Always, always. I can remember you introduced me to Fela Durotoye leadership training and your support and everything. I just really want to appreciate you. Yeah, yes. So I really want to appreciate you. And also, Mr. Dory Francis, I really want to thank you, sir, for honoring this great invitation. I really want to appreciate you. Thank you so much. And to my what would I call to the last not the least, Mrs. Cecilia Ago. I just want to appreciate all of you for honoring my invitation today. I really want to thank you. I want everyone. I just want to call out your social media handles for everyone to follow for the great work you're doing online in each of your pages and the wonderful pages. So Mr. Dorian Francis is at Not Easily Broken. At Not Easily Broken. That's the Instagram handle at Not Easily Broken. And Mrs. Amaka is at Amaka Chika Mbono at Amaka Chika Mbono. So go and follow her. Follow her immediately. Follow her immediately. And Mrs. Taye Aluko is at I am Taye underscore Aluko. At I am Taye underscore Aluko. Go and follow her too. And also to Mrs. Cecilia is everybody knows that at Bedroom Matters. So at Bedroom Matters, I just want to really appreciate every one of you. God bless you for honoring this special invitation. I pray today that God will honor each and every one of you, individually in the name of Jesus Christ. Thank you, and I appreciate. And also to my viewers, everyone that has connected either through YouTube or Facebook, I just want you to to be rest assured this video is I think is recorded, and we are going to have it maybe played bit by bit, might not be everything. So our media team is going to work on it and be able to, we know how to be able to share it so that everybody can have, for those that the network.
Yes, everybody. CC. Bye.
Yes, and bye.